guys are attacking like an actual moderate, and he's definitely a Christian. That's like, I think ideologically his main driver. He's a Christian man. He's a good man, and you guys want to say he's all of these bad things and maybe even laugh and make fun of the fact that he got shot in the neck. I personally would think it'd be funny if the people that were laughing at him getting shot in the neck, if it was captured on home video, a bunch of I don't know. Think of some of the biggest fat guys that also had really big fat dicks came in and raped you and killed you. I mean, I would probably laugh at that just because you deserve it. But Charlie wouldn't do that. He would think it's horrible. So I just don't get why people are being so mean to Charlie. He's a nice guy.
Expecting too much from the cut cards.
I feel like a lot of people who are saying these horrible things haven't even listened to much of anything of what he said, because it's so opposite of what people are saying. And I've seen actual direct misquotes, intentionally misquoting what he said, not just out of context, but actually words that he didn't use.
You bring up a good point. I find it hard to believe that somebody could be 100% wrong. You never hear the other side bring up anything else that he might have said good, you know what I mean? There's no way you can be 100% wrong. So it plays into what you're saying, is that the idea is to pick out and to make things out of context so they can get their narrative going. But at the end of the day, there's always something that you can find that you should be able to mention that was actually good. But you won't find that at all with this group.
Right. It's like there are some people, like everybody was saying, who do say horrible things. This was not the guy. And for people to be laughing, I'm like, they haven't listened to him. They're just joining in what they see other people doing and thinking it's a moment to sort of try to mock the rights and the conservatives, but I don't believe it.
And by the way, I'll go out on a limb and say each one of us at some point have done something very similar to what Charlie Kirk has said on this Clubhouse app. So it's like he really is really a low Clubhouse conversation at the end of the day that Charlie was having with these students. You know what I mean? So like literally every day we open up a room, we were having a Charlie-like conversation, and I guess we should be condemned for very similar kind of things. You know what I mean? Like there isn't anybody innocent on this app. The think that you're not obviously responsible for a little bit of your shit talking is completely bullshit. Like literally everybody on this app has done shit talking and has been an awful person. So does that mean that we get to find you and laugh at you after we shoot you?
Right.
I mean, it really comes down to that to me at this point.
Yeah, could you imagine anybody hear this happening and people laughing like that, and it happened to anybody? You're right, and it's not, there's worse things that have been said in this room than anything Charlie Kirk has said.
And that's the thing, is like, if this was like Nick Fuentes who got shot, I still would absolutely condemn it. But, I can kind of see why he's a little polarizing, and I even don't think he's a good person. But, he's just a homosexual that has a lot of influence, I don't know, these weird young people. But, and really, it's an open secret, he's a homosexual. I'm not just saying that as an insult.
Well, are you projecting? You're from Discord, where the trans shooter who killed Charlie Kirk was also radicalized. Were you radicalized in Discord, Pascal?
No. I was radicalized before Discord, bro.
I was going to say, Pepe, and what's fucked up about these people condemning Charlie Kirk so bad? I was thinking about bringing my uncle onto this app, because my uncle lives in the hood, like hood, like straight hood, like bullet holes in houses, every fucking where, man. And even talk the same way. They even talk worse. You talk to my uncle, I can't stand these fucking niggas. Trash everywhere, killing each other, shooting, just a bunch of debauchery. I can't wait to get away from these niggas. Like, this is how good black people are talking that actually live in these environments. So they're even talking worse about the community than Charlie Kirk ever would. Go down to these niggas and talk to these people that and in prison in these fucking hoods, and they want a way out because they're tired of this YN culture running around here destroying everything. They're even saying the same fucking thing. The same thing happened in the fucking 90s. If you guys go back and do your research, when Clinton was running for office, this is why the 94 crime bill came into effect, because the Republicans were running very, very hard on the tough on crime stance. Why? Because it was black people that were begging for a change, because they were tired of seeing the violence, tired of the children getting gunned out. It was black people begging and championing for more police activity in their
Oh, the
neighborhoods.
94
Clean up the fucking streets. Yeah. So what happened was the Democrats were running soft on crime, and they were losing votes from black people. Black people were starting to move over to the Republican side because they were the only ones talking about cleaning up this violence in the street, the drugs in the streets of these inner cities. So the Democratic Party, like they always do, they said, "Oh shit, we're losing votes, so we got to hop on the next, the new hottest trend to get these votes back." And that's when they started petitioning the 94 crime bill and all that shit. That's how that shit came into effect. So black people, again, decades ago, championed for more conservative politics in order to clean up their streets because they were tired of the bullshit.
So you're exactly right. And one of the main reasons why the first George Bush lost is because he racialized crime in his ads. Not him in his words, but in his ads when they used that filler in the ads against the caucus. He ended up winning, but it stuck with him. And then we have Clinton come aboard. And you're right, Maxine Waters and a lot of them were for that 94 crime bill that comes to pass, and it was addressing a lot of the crime that was in California, where I was from, in Southern California, in Los Angeles. I couldn't wear a Raiders hat as a kid. But now what we have today, like you said, there are a lot of African Americans that sound just like Charlie Kirk. If you put them behind the curtain, you wouldn't know that it's not Charlie Kirk. There are a lot of very religious folks in the hood that say that you believe the same thing. Like, we got to get back to a man and a woman, and a woman being subjugated, even though I don't agree with that, subjugated to the man and how they proceed in the household. So you're exactly right. We do hear this. What I will say to answer the question that Pepe is asking, again, it is how you address it. And one of the things about the way Charlie addressed things, especially when he cut it up for, to make it to real or publicity so that it would trend on social media, is he made it argumentative and he made it belittling to a lot of people. So it's not always what you say, but a lot of it is how you say it. And if it's a conversation from a place of the heart, as opposed to winning an argument, that's where the difference is.
I don't agree. I agree with you on that part, Trent, because I think we all have an inner troll in us, so to speak, right, Trent? So I think that at times, of course, Charlie went down that road and did his inner troll. I mean, it'd be no different. He could be on the stage right now, and he would do his troll piece, a little bit probably. But he always had a message at the end of the day, and I think obviously that, to your point, might have been overshadowed by that trolling that I mentioned. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hello? Hello?
Yes, hello.
Alright, so yeah, I disagree. I think he kind of dished it how people gave it to him. I would see videos and there were a lot of assholes that came up and they were belittling first. And so I thought he was actually kind of nice in his responses most of the time. They made themselves look stupid. And he spliced it that way.
So would you say that it's like really no different than a clubhouse conversation, right? When you say where like you'll get somebody that comes up on stage that we've seen all day today, and like you'll have to call them dumb, the usual stuff. I mean, he just did it at a greater scale. You know what I mean? A lot more people that were listening. She left anyways, but that's kind of where I've been going with my angle. I don't know if I'm off in some weird land, but to me, at the end of the day, it was just a clubhouse conversation with a little bit extra ears and eyes, so to speak,
Matt, you're exactly right. And I'm going to mention them because you just gave me here, PhD. Y'all know PhD, right? Me and PhD are not from the same worlds, right? We look the same, but we're not from the same worlds. PhD, as many of you know, you've been very public about. Okay. I had some private conversations, and I'm not the only one. I'm not going to sit here and only be like, I'm the only one. I was the one who spoke to him. No, I'm not trying to do that. But the way I hit the man, I said, hey man, if this is where you want to go, this is what you got to do. You're going to have to hit that knife at this point. At 45, it's unlikely that you're going to do it any other way. And, he was worried about doing it. But I didn't belittle him. I didn't say, oh, well, you're fat, you ain't never going to do this. You ain't never going to do that. I said, I told the man, if you've got the wherewithal to be a black male and get a PhD, you can lose the weight and find, what you're looking for out of life. And there's different ways, y'all know, right? It's really easy to have punch down, Matt and Pepe. It's really easy to have punch down conversations, and I try not to have them, right? We can always, when somebody's hurting, they may be gay, they may be trans, they may be a little different in some way. It's very easy for us to get people, especially in a setting where we're comfortable, and punch down and say it's your fault. The crime is your fault. The fatherless homes are your fault. It's harder to have compassion for the folks and walk with them.
Yeah, but it is their fault. They're the ones choosing to lay down, have unprotected sex, have kids out of wedlock. Like what you're saying, Trent, is with all due respect, but you're going back to grown-ass adults. We have to infantilize them, and this is the problem. We've infantilized these grown-ass adults so much. Now we gotta fucking baby talk them and give them a spoonful of Gerber fucking mush baby food in order for them. No, bro, that's not how the world works. Like, this is the problem. These people gotta understand the world don't revolve around you. The world is a cruel place. The world is a cold place. Nobody has time to sit up here and prep and put icing and a cherry on top just to tell you, hey, you're fucked up. This is the problem.
Sig just sit on my Sig said, man, forget them. I can't say it. I want to say it.
I mean, but look at our military, man. Look at the strategy our military uses, though. I mean, you think about it, some of your most responsible citizens come out of the military. Some of the most productive, affluent, well-spoken, articulate black folks I've met in my life have come from the military. And what is the strategy? The world don't revolve. Suck it the fuck up, Buttercup. You fucking maggot. Get on your goddamn face and start pushing the fucking earth. Oh, you fuck this up? Yeah, you're gonna have to go run fucking 8 miles. You're gonna have to go fucking hike 7 fucking miles. 50-pound pack on you. Like this, and we have some of our finest citizens coming from this organization. So we got proof that it works.
I wouldn't use the military as the way that you need to speak to the average person. I know what you're saying, right? That's the way to get through some people. It's not the way to reach necessarily the masses. And again, we've done in some respects, we've done a good job. But I'm not going to disagree with you no more. There's a lot more to go. If we're talking about African Americans, we do have to accept facts. That Siggy, the same thing that bothers you bothers me. Bothers the hell out of me because I'm a statistics guy. Like when we can't even just say that the crime in Memphis and Detroit and Houston and Dallas and New Orleans, we know who it is, and that's the crazy thing. Like we know who it is, and we're afraid to admit that this problem is ours, right? No, we're not the mass shooters of the churches and the grocery stores, which get a lot of publicity, but are relatively rare. The mass shootings every day, to Charlie Kirk's point, the mass shootings that happen every day around America, which is 4 or more people shot, happen in clubs and around the corner from the liquor store, and at the barbecue or whatever, and there are people that look like me. And it's usually 18 to 24-year-old black males. That's where the problem is. We know where the problem is. And so we can accept it and recognize that this is the problem, and this is where we need to hone our focus we'd be a lot better off instead of, like Al was doing, trying to pretend like stats from Idaho or other problem.
Pepe, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Alright, give me the beans so I can get this fucker popping. Like, we're getting beat by that fucking cocksucker.
This room is in a competition.
What the heck? Well, we should start inviting everybody on stage. I mean, that's how you get the rules.
You don't hear me talking? You don't hear me talking?
Oh, no, I do hear you talking. You too melanated for me to care.
Alright, so anyways. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at liberals, and I don't know why they're you're saying, I think some of the things, like even Krasensteins, they like follow me. I followed them back. I think they follow like most people. But they have like 1 million plus people, I think, on their accounts. But it's like, them saying, I found a lot of the things that he said deeply hurtful. But they didn't make fun of his death or anything. They're not that tasteless. But yeah, I still don't. I mean, I don't even know what he said that is deeply hateful. I mean, there's nothing that came out of Charlie Kirk's mouth that would anybody who's even remotely conservative, and especially if they're like actually a religious Christian, he didn't say anything that was like out of line. I mean, to me, people are just reaching.
Are you serious or are you joking?
Yeah, Hurricane. Maybe Hurricane will just so. Because I'd love. Can you think of anything that Charlie Kirk said that was wrong?
Where do I begin? What'd you say, Trent?
Black women, what he said about black women not having brain capacity. When he said that about.
You didn't say black women, that was misquoted.
Do you think that's the worst thing he said, Trent?
No, it's not the worst. This is the one that hits me. Go ahead, baby. It's good to see you.
Well, why did it hit you? You're not even married to a black woman. What are you talking about?
What?
Hurricane, but can you answer Hurricane? Can you not deflect and answer Pepe's question? What did Charlie Kirk say?
I don't know who you are. Okay, I'm here because of Pascal. So
Hurricane, you were asked a question.
I know. Listen, Pepe and I have a simpatico.
Can you point out anything that Charlie Kirk that has said that was false?
Sick. I just got here. I'm trying to warm up my seat.
It's fine. Hurricane and I don't agree on a lot of things. We get along.
Like,
we get along for the most part.
Like, what's your problem?
You were asked a question and you deflected.
I always answer Pepe's question. I didn't deflect.
Just invite everybody.
I think Trent ended up bringing up something, so that's how it happened.
Bitch, what's your problem?
All right, so then let's start over. What has Charlie Kirk said?
Sick, I'm not here to talk to you because I don't like you. I don't like your tone. I don't like your energy.
There you go. That's another bit. I don't like your tone. I don't like your tone.
I'm going to talk to Pepe.
Hurricane, can I tell us? Pretty pleased with the cherry on top. Anything that Charlie Kirk
Shut the fuck
said
up,
was
bitch, and
wrong?
stick the cherry up your ass. How about
All
that?
right, you guys. So let's let's not attack each other. Please don't attack each other.
Like I came up and Trent asked me a question. Trent and I, we have a simpatico too. Trent and I were going back and forth. And you won't even let these two black men have a question before I start telling
I'm just curious. So, RJ, you have Nigerian origin. Am I correct with
I'm black. Don't talk. Yeah, I'm a black man.
No. The reason I'm asking is it's my experience, at least with Nigerians I've spoken to, that they do seem a bit more religious on it in comparison to Americans. Like, I could be wrong.
That is true.
Oh, sorry. What's your claim about Nigerians again?
Oh, the ones at least that come here to the United States, they seem to be a little bit more religious than Americans.
Super.
You mean more religious than white Americans?
Yes.
Very much so.
White Americans. Well, yeah, but that's because white people don't know Jesus.
Amazing.
Yeah, you guys are infidels,
But I mean, do you think that for example, the Christian Nigerian diaspora would find anything wrong with maybe his views on, let's say, LGBT stuff? Is it I think Charlie Kirk, he was a religious person. That was his main ideological bent. And I can understand how some people might think it's offensive when he says only, I don't know, I don't even know if this was his stance, but maybe he thought committing a homosexual act is a sin. I mean, that's just kind of standard for.
Okay, so let me tell you a few things. So, are you familiar with Central Park 5?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you familiar with Yusuf Salam?
No, I'd have to look him up.
So he's a member of the Central Park 5. He is now a New York City councilman. And Charlie Kirk accused Yusuf Salam of rape repeatedly. He called him a disgusting pig who had gotten away with gang rape. The disgusting pig is a direct quote. Those are words that Charlie Kirk used. And he also said that Yusuf Salam got away with, open quote, gang rape, close quote. So he said that about Yusuf Salam, one of the Central Park 5. As we know, they were all exonerated. So that's one thing he said that I thought was distasteful and beyond the pale. He also said that prowling blacks go around for fun to go target white people. I'm looking up here for more quotes.
I know that about Yusuf Salam.
He also said, no, well, he was not found guilty of. He was exonerated, so.
Yeah, I just didn't know.
Him of record.
You're giving me something. I didn't know that one.
Charlie Kirk also said that Jewish donors were the #1 funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. He also said that the philosophical foundation of anti-whiteness has been largely financed by Jewish donors in the country. Close quote.
But he did. I did see that clip. But he did, and he's correct. And I don't think most Jews would even disagree. You do have like secular Jews who, that are like very left wing, and that you have Jews on both sides that are kind of
The
they have
philosophical
money.
foundation of anti-whiteness has been largely financed by
Hurricane, are you gonna let that
Jews in
be
the country.
talk?
Wait, who's talking to me? Because if it's Sig, I'm not talking
Go
to
ahead.
you.
No, it's not so.
You're a fool. I'm not talking to you.
Well, I would say that there is, if I can go back into it. I would say, the Jewish leftists always kind of if you look at a lot of the anti-whiteness shit that would even going back to the '60s that you would get more in academia, he's not incorrect. Like a lot of.
Hold on.
Well, if that's the case, then let's just go ahead and say that
Trick hopped off the car.
let's just go ahead and say that you are happy to be an anti-Semite.
Yeah.
Because that's what that statement
I don't think
is
that's
all about.
anti-Semitic because
It is.
absolutely not. Because
It is.
no. I'm picking out Jews.
One thing.
Yeah. One second. Right after this, I would clarify that. First of all, he's saying what kind of Jews. He's not saying Jews in general.
He said Jews with money, Jewish donors. Jewish donors.
Well, who else is going to do it besides the ones with money?
Well, yeah. So you say he's specifying as a certain type of Jew.
Well, secular.
Yeah, he's talking about secular
No,
Jews specifically.
No, he didn't talk about secular Jews. He said Jewish donors. He didn't say.
Okay, I'll play the clip.
He didn't say Jewish donors who are secular. That's not what he said.
All right, I'll play the clip.
Please play it. Perhaps there's a context that I'm missing. Go ahead and play it.
All right, hold on. Let me pull it up.
It might be the 8th best answer.
All right, guys, don't. All right, so
And Jewish donors, they have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the #1 funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like, time for you guys to wake up and say no more. Draw a line in the sand. I don't care if you...
So, and that's interesting. He said secular Jews, and now it's coming for the Jews. So it sounded like, and this is where I'm 100% correct. You actually saw, let me put my headphones back in. You actually saw post October 7th, you saw that Jews, a lot of lefty Jews, we're still funding these, giving endowments to these campuses. They were funding a lot of this far left bullshit. But then you saw something change after October 7th. They were riding that dragon. Hold on.
Are all secular Jews leftists?
Oh, hold on.
Are all secular Jews
They don't let this black man control you.
Yeah, but no, but those are, it's the secular Jews that tend to be left. Yes.
Are they so? Oh, okay. So secular and leftist, those two words mean the same thing when
No, but the religious Jews tend to be more right wing. That's just kind of like religious people in general.
Well, he said secular. He didn't say leftist.
Well, yes. So he just talked about how secular Jews were funding all of these things that in the United States we would consider far left. And he said that basically they went around and started attacking, and now they're coming for the Jews, which is what you did. You had the people that were, I'd say most of the people that were doing the pro-Palestine shit, I would say most of these people were not like anti-Semites, they're not racist, but they were, I would say they looked at Israel kind of through the same lens they might look at the United States or Great Britain as this settler colonialism,
Yeah, Mark says all that crap.
Pepe, I got the answer for you. It's 77% of secular Jews. Bro, it's giving you statistics.
Okay, what is it? 77%
of secular Jews are on the left.
Yeah, well, but he didn't say left.
Oh.
He said secular Jews.
So well, the secular Jews that were supporting that stuff.
So I suppose
they did
it's okay.
start kind of going after Jews.
It's okay to target secular Jews, right?
No, he said that they had a lot of explaining to do, and basically was saying like, look, now they're coming. Now these people that you were supporting, like I'm guessing he's referring to Palestine or some shit. Now these people, these leftists, are coming for they're coming for all Jews. And so I think that's perfectly reasonable. That's not anti-Semitic.
I disagree, but it's fine. We don't have to agree.
All right, Pepe, you know how you have house niggers, now you have a house Jew. You can ask, do I think that it's, that Charlie Kirk was going against Jews? No. He was stating the facts that people like George Soros and Larry Fink were fucking piece of shits, are fucking indoctrinating all these fucking young kids, and that we need to wake up and smell the fucking, shit and see that, these leftist fucking Jews need to be fucking stopped.
It's so strange, Ken.
On this house, like,
Yeah, Ken.
no, I do.
Yeah, you sound
Really well.
Yeah, you sound like you have bile.
I do. A lot of it.
All right, well let's not do their personal attacks.
Vile or vile? Yeah, simply
Bile.
No, vile with a V.
He hasn't. He hasn't born. That's what I meant.
We were back at transplant, bro.
Yeah, who wanted to speak?
Yeah, it's true. I think I say, I'm waiting for any guy wrong. Okay, I had heard that comment before, and now hearing it even in the context, it's a bad comment to me, right? Yes, a lot of, I don't call them secular Jews, a lot of Jews do vote Democratic. I mean, we obviously know that just from the congressional,
she kind of.
No, black people were not conservative at that time either.
Oh my God.
You know what you're talking about, Ken? The word conservative, as used in application to whites, doesn't mean it applies to whites.
Republicans, you fucking piece of shit.
No, I'm not gonna listen. I
Right-leaning
have mild
Jones.
No, they were Democrats, but not right-leaning, please. Black people are not conservative the same way whites are conservative. Because you feel
Conservative values.
know that. No, 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 conservative. That's
All right,
that's
stop.
conservative means. You're an idiot.
I would say blacks are somewhat more socially conservative on average than whites in the United States.
If you guys did any reading, you would understand what conservative
Yeah, that's not
not
your
the
fault.
way, not the way you guys define conservative. It applies to all white people. They use
I just disagree with her.
So you want to call me a bitch, which is your right. You want to call me a fucking faggot, you know? You want to listen to
You have a baby carrot day call. You have a baby carrot day connect to say.
Alright, that's fine, that's fine. Sure, this is exactly what I was talking about.
She says that.
It's some women and these niggas with sugar in their fucking tank. This is the fucking problem. So the motherfuckers sit up here and cry and boo and whine about your tone, your tone, your tone, your tone. And all I did was ask them a question. But you want to come off the mic and call me a fucking bitch. I never disrespected you, you fucking black faggot. That's the fucking problem.
See,
That's the problem.
see, I would you can use pronouns and say she.
I mean, I'm gonna say this when it comes to even the Jewish thing. I would say Jews have been like extremely fucking responsible for I guess you see the radical left bullshit you've seen in our country since the '60s. That has been the Jews. That, you know, they started a good number of them started. You know, they were professors, very as you'd say, involved in the radical left-wing movements. Of course, a lot of it was communists.
Let's have this discussion real quick before I go back to what I want to. And you know, I like everybody. I try not to get personal and insult anybody. So Pepe, you say radical left. What do you mean? What does that mean to you?
Oh, sure. So that would be like the well, you had many different organizations. You had DSA, which I'd say is somewhat radical left. You had like the Weather Underground. You had the what is it, Black Liberation or I forget. They ended up having a Marxist killed. You had a lot of the activism, whether it was for racial, whether it was for women's rights, whether it was of course a lot of it was economic. It was influenced by far left of what we would consider like Marxist ideology. And that I would say the '60s is when we definitely saw it. That was a decade known for like a lot of protesting and movements, some of which were violent on the on behalf of the far left.
You know, I'm talking about today. Let's not talk about yesteryear. Like in 2025, and this is for all of you. What do you think it is the left stands for, or the far left stands for? And what do you think the right or the far right stands for? And I'm going to preface it by saying I talk to both sides. I told you I live on the border and I live in Texas most of my life. I spent a lot of time in Ohio, California, all over the country. When I hear both sides of the coin, they're both talking about the elites. So when I listen to you guys like Sig and Ken, when I listen to your complaints, it's often about rich people on the far left and on the far right. And I'd love to hear your points on that.
In a way, yes. In both of them, so the far right, it will depend because there's many types of people on collaborationists. These are people like Timothy McVeigh. They seek to commit terrorist attacks, anticipating that it will cause social unrest, and then the law enforcement or the government will start trying to strip people of guns, and then people of color will attack them, and then they're going to do more terrorist attacks, and it'll break down the country. They can have their new utopian Nazi government or some shit. You have like white nationalists, which can be anywhere from they're not that extreme to pretty extreme. You have what else? Christian right. You can get some of them that are everywhere on the Christian right, but then on the left, I would say you have people that are rather like I would say Marxist purist. They're not people that have any lefty social views, but they are, they're communist, and they do see this as our capitalist countries like having hierarchical structures that are oppressive, and they seek to change it for the benefit of the average working person, to people that are and some of these people, they tend not to be that militant, but they need the ones who are militant. I guess you can start looking at Antifa. I would say in the 60s, like the Weather Underground, which was, notorious for bombing and shooting people. They were obviously radical leftists. And so,
the thing is, and this is for all of you, most of you want, like terrorists, it's not the leftist ideal. That's
not traditionally. Paleoconservatives that before you got the break with the new right, that new right was all from laissez-faire capitalism. The conservatives like Nixon and before, they love terrorists.
Yeah, okay, but basically building up the working class, right? Building up the working class, which is now populist movement is talking about, is basically in some ways a leftist construct. And so what I'm saying is the rise that I'm seeing through MAGA on the right and the anti-corporation and the anti-elite sentiment is the same shit that I've been hearing on the left for years. The parties are blending. They're really saying the same things.
There's a convergence of interest for sure. I mean, you do under George W. You would not see the right criticizing corporations and corporate interests the way that you have been for the last several years. But I would say this: is that hold on.
You didn't talk about
interest
convergence. You said the parties are blending. The parties are beginning to look more like each other. That's not true.
Okay, well, on some levels, but I would say this: like a paleoconservatives, the rights that existed before. I would say you had the Barry Goldwater Republicans, and of course, what the fuck is he? Reagan was like kind of one of them. They were a lot different. If you look at like Nixon and before, these are people that were very protectionist. They didn't care about let's just look at the GDP. Their focus was on the American dream, the everyday American worker. These are people to be taken care of. They want to make sure that everybody has a shot at the American dream. So when it came to workers and their wages for the everyday American, yeah, that was front and center. That was put on a back burner with the new right. They were all about, in my opinion, more corporate greed.
Okay, can I ask a question? So, I don't know your opinion about this, but I feel as though one distinguishing factor between the right and the left is identity politics. I think that if the right were to play with identity politics, well, what's the last thing? To be honest, it would not be accepted as it is on the left.
Well, the right doesn't get identity politics, so that's just the side.
It's not accepted.
It is accepted on the right, yes, it is.
Only in,
The right identity politics.
it's not being,
Do you know what identity politics actually is?
It's something you
something that you see online, but you won't see in like any large platform. You can't really.
No, that's what I'm saying. You can't say that on mainstream television networks.
What about
You
what
cannot
about
say
what
that at all.
does?
You can say I'm from
Right.
black.
What do we do?
Blah, 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 blah.
What do we do when it comes to identity politics? Like, what do we do?
What is the administration doing?
I don't know.
No,
What
but
have they
it's
done?
Taking over in January.
What have they done?
You know what I'm saying?
I don't. Which identities have been attacked?
Answer the question, Hurricane.
Since I don't know what I'm saying. I don't talk to idiots who talk to me as if they're slaves.
I'm an idiot. That's true.
Exactly. So shut the fuck up, because I'm not an enslaved person. It's my 1866.
Right, can you just answer the question so I can listen to this?
Hold on, guys. Alright, guys, don't. Yeah, don't. That's the first sentence.
Jen is talking to me.
Seems like you want to be loud. No one said that you were.
She could never.
I know, guys, stop. Alright, guys, stop. I don't want to hear that. The bickering is so obnoxious. So, yeah, I mean, as far as kicking out illegals, yeah, you can say that's racist or some shit, which I don't think it is. Transgender, I think stops.
I'll answer your question. Okay. It's obviously you cannot concentrate for more than 5 seconds is your problem, not mine.
Can you pretty please just give us some examples of how they
Shut
use identity
up.
politics, please?
Shut up.
Please on this?
Alright, guys, let's
Shut up. I was talking and you interrupted me. That's what you did.
Alright, so Hurricane, I do recall you were about to say like.
Yeah, I was about
you
to
were
say
gonna-
something,
Okay.
but the dumb bitch named Sid.
Alright, come on, don't do that.
Why not tell Sid to stop?
Because-
People who are answering
Okay,
the
I did. I tried to tell both of you to stop, but then like
No, I haven't heard
calling
you
him a
tell
bitch and then
Sid
he's
to
gonna
be
respond.
quiet.
Holy shit.
When the administration said that it was going to do everything that it could to get rid of DEI, because DEI in the workplace is taking opportunities from white people and giving them to less deserving, less qualified non-white people, it was engaging in identity politics. That's just one example. It's called identity politics. Now, we can disagree on whether it's good identity politics or not. That's a different conversation. But insisting that that is my identity politics is wrong. Because what it is doing is simply not giving to identity, coming up with an agenda that is going to advance that particular identity. That is what identity politics is. Coming up with ideas, with initiatives, with policy measures that are going to work for the benefit of a particular identity. That is identity politics.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
It's simply incorrect to argue.
I'm not making that point. I'm saying that the identity politics of the greatest unaccepted that it is on the left. That's my opinion. I'm making that
Because all
I'm
who
saying
are happy, already all of you are happy with what the administration is doing. You're happy about it.
I think our part's different. Sarah's point.
No, I'm making a point. My point is that identity politics exist on both sides, except one is accepted and the other one isn't.
That's false.
That's not true.
That's false.
I think the point is, like, if you think Democrats by any influence, they literally go out of their way to make sure that they always mention minorities as, you know, the most oppressed. And if you're black and a woman, you being downtrodden is due to your race, basically. So it's far more likely that you're going to hear a person at the DNC that needs it, and the oppression of black people and women than rise up, basically. Like, you're not gonna hear those things.
Hold on a second. So I actually want to push back. They spent like a decade at least of, white people, bad, especially white men, toxic masculinity. Oh, look at how horrible that your guys' history is. White supremacy is like the biggest thing. In fact, it's everywhere. You can't stop it. They're just basically demonizing the fuck out of white people. And of course, there's all this DEI shit gets instituted. But then all of a sudden, it's like, well, yeah, now they're kind of stripping it away. I don't consider that identity politics. I see him like literally stripping identity politics from institutions in terms of like hiring and universities. They're not implementing pro-white, discrimination. So that I think that if anything, all they're doing is stripping the identity politics from everyday America as opposed to adding it. Yes, so back to the problem. The problem with this conversation. Yeah, but maybe I would have to make a top. I'm not gonna make it. So the problem with this is that you decided to listen to the reality. That is all. I will listen
Respond to Hurricane basically, he didn't respond to my point. So when I said that, when I was trying to at least clarify what I thought what Sarah was saying, and I agree with it, that the right and the left do not apply identity politics the same way. That was the truth. Like, I specifically was trying to reference the level to which they're mainstreamed and promoted by the leaders on either side. And it's factual. You can say there's people on the right that say that white men have the most oppressed ever, or at least today. But you're not going to hear those same people being propelled to the same level as someone like Ketanji Brown, what the fuck her name is, or Ilhan Omar is. Like, you're not going to hear them give those same talking points in the same fashion at the same level. You're just not. And you could say, well, oh, they're hiding it. Okay, well, they're hiding it for a reason, because they can't say it in the open according to your own logic. So that's my point.
That's one of the points I was trying to make.
I just put a link in the chat, and typically, whatever Otis is referring to as the right utilizing identity politics, what you're talking about is action response. I put a link in the chat to a clip of Don Lemon broadcasting to the entire world, quote, saying, white men are the biggest terror threat in this country. So it's typically a response to love that as the one that starts the first.
Can you gotta give me that? What did Don Lemon say about white women?
The link is in the chat, so you can forget it. So
He said we're the biggest threat. He said white men on the right are the biggest threat to the United States.
So typically,
Can you say that recently or?
typically, hold on.
4 or 5 years ago.
So typically, what's going on is the left makes these types of claims, and then the right responds to it. So it's not fair to say that the right uses identity politics when it's literally a response to the bullshit that the left is looking at.
That's not.
Don Lemon said that after the Buffalo shooting. I believe it was either the Buffalo or the El Paso Walmart shooting that killed 29 Hispanics and
here. And look, I don't necessarily agree with that. But my point was, at the end of the spectrum, y'all are talking about the same thing. The only real dividing point when I'm looking at your politics is abortion. It's really the last.
Are you talking about between the far right and the far left, or the right and left in general?
Just between the parties, right? There's not really and I'm being serious, there's not really significant differences between the parties. We feel like there is, but I look at the issues. I mean, when I look at Trump's platform, it looks like the 1992 Bill Clinton platform. And that's basically what it is. Trump's like a 90s Democrat, right? And so that's why I don't disagree with a lot of policies.
How is Trump a 90s Democrat? Trump, what are you talking about?
Again, some shit's gonna be over your head. You just gotta keep up.
No, it's not over my head, please. I know what was happening in the 1990s.
Yeah, if you look at the 92 platform, it looks a lot like Trump's current platform.
That's not
Not everywhere.
That's untrue.
But the point
It's untrue.
okay,
Untrue.
thanks, Hurricane.
And you can't prove it.
Okay, that's fine. My larger point is, when I'm talking with folks, they're angry at corporations, they're angry at billionaires, they're angry at an elite and executive class on both sides of the aisle, and they feel underpinned by these things because they can't afford what they want, especially when we get to younger folks that can't afford things, and I do think that is a problem. So I see a changing of the guard. I actually think one of the great things about the Republican Party is it is expanding. It is bringing in more African Americans. I actually think that's good for America. I do not think it's good to have one party that's got all the African Americans in it. I think that is a bad thing. I think it's good that we're able to have conversations without cussing out each other and calling each other names, right? Because what we're going to face is that our problems are going to be AI and robots and neural thinking. We don't recognize it how fast this is coming. This is going to be a challenge in probably 2020. It's not going to be 2032. We're going to have a technical problem that we're all going to have to come together on and figure out before we have a major revolution. I'll end right there.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, the whole race politics that didn't really start until, what was it, 2012, you started seeing the momentum.
Let's talk. What do you think
Well, we can look at, actually, I'll fast forward just a tiny bit.
you said really something started in 2012.
Sure, Trayvon Martin, and then of course there's Obama's smartass comments regarding it, kind of politicizing it himself. Then you had the Black Lives Matter with what is his name? I forget the name of the guy shot near St. Louis. And that's when you the chant was, and you saw that you started seeing, riots occurring in November 2014, 2015. You start seeing riots in different cities all over the country in response to whatever shootings. Definitely Christian. I started seeing these racial narratives, and there's a lot of theories behind this. Like most people had 2012, 2013 had smartphones, people were getting their information in different ways. Prior to that, so we're kind of capitalized. Definitely, nobody denies the fact that race started getting into politics a lot more in the 2010s. I mean, its views on race actually took their share.
The blacks started voting en masse for Democrats really in the late 1960s with the civil rights movement with LBJ, but it's really JFK. Because again, Martin Luther King out of jail in the 1960s, that starts to flip the black vote, and then it's voting en masse. Now, I'll grant you, to move it forward, talk about today, social media has had a profound to this incident with Charlie Kirk that we were all able to see, and it wasn't, we were all able to see the shot instantly, without it being edited and cleansed by the media. And so it's had a profound effect on how we communicate. But I'm coming back to that because when I look at chats and I look at the generation that's coming, and by the generation coming, I'm talking about people that are 35 to 40 years old. They are much more interracial. They're much more integrated. We have a high number of homosexuals and LGBTQ. In Gen Z, it's up to 20%. 1 in 5, it's mainly women, but 1 in 5, 1 in 5 of those individuals in Gen Z are going to be LGBTQ. We have a record high interracial relationships, of all types of relationships. So the world is actually coming together. It's just hard for a lot of the older people here to see.
Oh, I just wanted to correct the things I'm trying to. Your timeline. Yeah, your timeline is wrong. Black people started voting in large numbers for the Democratic Party in 1966. The shift began earlier. Every month started. Earlier.
Yeah, he's actually right. It's just that during the 60s, with Barry Goldwater reshaping the Republican Party is when we started pulling votes away from the Democratic Party, so they had to flip and really hit heavy on the Civil Rights Movement, gave them the Black Votes Back, and the Young Great Society Act.
Yeah, well, I really liked Charlie Kirk's funeral. I didn't go for memorial service, I should say. But
Why didn't you attend? Why didn't you attend?
I just stream it. It's like fucking. I don't want to go. Like, there. So the person I know who went, she got there. She arrived there at like 4 a.m. There's already like thousands of people. It's something you have to wake up at like 2 in the morning to get ready to go.
Where was it held?
It was here in Glendale, Arizona, at the stadium that the Arizona Cardinals play out of.
Did you guys got a chance to raise money to rest, give them a good farewell, go home celebration?
I thought Erica Kirk, what she said was just really beautiful. I think that was the best part of it. She talked about the loving relationship she has with her husband and how he treated her and how the values that he wanted to share with others. And then she forgave the killer. She forgave her husband's killer. And she said that it's really more important to not to hate each other, but to answer with love. That the Gospels teach us to love one another. And anyway, I mean, I'm super paraphrasing, but it was just really beautiful and moving. And that's what I thought. No, I streamed it. I'm not in Arizona. I'm not gonna get a flight. And besides, I feel like watching it at home and streaming it and being able to pause and rewind is hopefully better than being there in person anyway.
was the only thing that he ever said to me that is inherently wrong. And that's what
correct you again. You did this earlier.
that's what I just came here for the first time. So I just came here for the first time, so I couldn't have done anything earlier.
Hold on one second, Ken.
Man, you're very wrong. Just came here for the first
No,
time.
I'm right.
No, you're very wrong.
Oh, I would say this. So I hear that argument, but the thing is, though, is you have to look at it. See, the left and the right both look at it as protecting life and protecting the autonomy of a being. Now, the right, they're going to look at that as actual murder. You're killing a baby. It's not just because it's not solely religious.
No, it's really.
Now they're gonna look at this at a baby as being as you know as this autonomous, well, not completely autonomous as it hasn't been born yet, but this living thing that is a gift from God. That's not going to be the religious part. And they look at abortions as wrong. And what they want to do is they want to save the voiceless child that has not yet been born. Now, with that being said, it's them. They're doing it from a moral lens. You cannot necessarily say they're wrong. Now, when it comes to ideological lens, but then I can use yes. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
And so what I was gonna say, hold on. What I was gonna say is that I can do the same. You have an ideological lens where you should protect the health and the freedom of the mother, and whether or not she wants to allow a pregnancy to come to term. Now, once again, that's the woman valuing the woman's life over the baby's. But some people are going to do it with the babies over the, some not even over the woman's. They just don't want to have women to have the option to hurt the baby. Now you can get into the. Now, first of all, it is subjective. Okay, you can't say for a matter of fact, for example, allowing abortion is the morally good thing to do. That's not a stance that's even possible to have. That is literally a subjective opinion. So then what did he say? Then how was what he said actually immoral? It's not inherently immoral because you can't inherently imply morality.
Wait. First of all, you cut me off when I was talking. First of all. Second of all, I never said inherently immoral. I said it was inherently wrong in my worldview. I specifically said it that way. Let me equate something to you real quick. Just because I looked it up, and I hear what you're saying. That's simple, bro. There's no thought behind that, of course. That's the way that he thinks, and that's his morality. That's his religion, of course. That's cookie cutter responses, bro. What else would he have said? But I would say this to you, and I know people are going to argue because they don't get the equation, but it's simple. In the satanic home, if those satanic sacrificing animals, it could be argued that you can't argue against that because that fits into their worldview. Now, I know you don't like that shit, okay, cool, whatever. What I'm saying is his whole view had to do with his worldview, his ideas, his ideals, and it's wrong to kill that baby because my book says so, so I'm not arguing. What I'm saying is to me, it was inherently wrong that came out that man's mouth.
Okay, so I know what you said.
Wait, can I say something? I'm pro-life and a woman, and the thing is with that, first of all, the likelihood of that ever happening is like, you have to win the lottery like 10 times over. So they were trying to get him in a gotcha moment, like, oh, well, don't you think?
To be fair, you should address it though. To be fair, you should address it because he did hypothetical, even though it's fair.
No, I get it. So first of all, it's a gotcha question to try to be like, well, you don't really believe that in all cases, do you? And his rationale, it is based on religion. That is true. But it's also based on science because biology teaches us that all human life starts at the moment of conception. And he's just saying if it's a human and it's a human life, that it should be valued and it should be afforded rights as anyone else. And if somebody got pregnant, especially at a young age, then that is traumatic, that is horrible. He'd never want that for his daughter. But if it happened, it wouldn't necessarily erase the trauma to surgically have the baby away.
Wait, okay, what? No, okay.
But it's not another, it's another law.
was his choice to make. And so, regardless, that's what was being done. We all know that postpartum depression is a real thing. That
It's for everybody. Every fucking majority of women have postpartum depression.
Yes, sir. We agree.
So I'm just going to say that, Charlie kind of says, oh, hey, if my daughter was raped, I would force her to have the baby because he doesn't want his grandchild to be snuffed out in his fucking life. Killing the baby's not going to fix the fact that she was fucking raped.
You're right.
The point is that
The thing is that daughter, wait a minute.
Hold on, killing the baby is going to fix her traumatic experience. No, not exactly. I mean, you're emotional. If you understand that I'm emotionally about murdering babies, then yes.
Okay, hold on, but
The thing is, the argument goes both ways.
I get emotional about rapist pedophiles.
okay. I know what you're about to say. It goes both ways. Now, I want you to answer. I want you to answer the question.
Are you emotional?
Oh my God, Jesus Christ! Shut the fuck up, everybody. So this is a very simple question. I'll ask for you. Okay. What morally should you value? Hold on. Okay. Okay, so you guys literally won't shut the fuck up. Now, now, when it comes to, okay, so now tell me this: is it morally right or wrong to care for the? This is why people are racist. Dumbasses like him.
Sure, the whole argument is that he's even engaging in this conversation, which means that he has some type of feeling about it. He's calling me emotional. He says stuff about the baby. He's like, oh, how dare you get emotional about somebody when you kill babies? You're engaging in this conversation because you have own feelings on this argument, and you think that it's okay to fucking stop babies. That fucking existence.
And you know what else is that the whole abortion industry, at least a big part of it, with Rockford Peoria, it started off as a racist movement. It was a eugenics movement trying to weed out black babies and kill off black babies
We
specifically.
don't want it to be heard that we tend to exterminate the negro population.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, just the fact that, especially if black people are like against abortion, it's just funny to me because the whole reason it started was to kill off black people specifically, and at least Planned Parenthood. Anyway, I don't know about all of them, but Planned Parenthood and Margaret Sanger, that was definitely the case.
Oh, shut up. Let jokes talk. Shut your fucking monkey mouth if you want to go back and sit in the monkey cage. Bitch, shut the fuck up.
Pussy, what? And you got a rock your back ass.
All yelling at each other or showing your books from a chair.
We don't want babies to be burnt down.
You need to have a rational.
Let Joe go.
I appreciate the mic. Y'all talking my favorite subject right here is, exposing the murder of children. So if we kill 1 million babies a year here in America, and if all 1 million were being killed because the mother was being raped, well, we'd have a rape problem, and we would stop raping. We'd stop people from raping. That would be the issue. The problem we have in America is that we have a baby killing problem, and we need to stop killing babies. So I'm just going to point that out right there. So to raise the obscure point about, well, what happens if, someone has to carry a person, a child that has come from rape. Like Susanna said, it's so obscure. Should we kill 1 million babies?
Let him finish.
I'm adding on to what you're saying, Chuck. If you murder the baby,
It's all right. I like to hear from you. I was just going to end it with the largest threat of human life is abortion, and it's genocide that's occurring. So we need to bring an end to it.
Well, I do think
this is why I jumped in, Pepe. Because as soon as he finishes,
I'm not the one who kicked you. I'm not the one who. I didn't. Not the one who.
No. But you're telling me to shut up. This is the reason I jumped in because I didn't kill anybody yet. Exactly. So all the same to Jonas, murdering the baby doesn't undo the fucking Democrats are going to do to Trump that was, forced upon that young girl, killing babies and gonna be a young girl wake up the next morning. You know what? I wasn't reading that. I forgot all about it.
Well, I do think that, everybody likes to talk about the black genocide that's occurred from abortion, but all I can think of is that, these are largely poor, black women that would probably make very shitful of mothers. And so that's like 50 million, blacks that, that are largely going to be criminal and violent that, didn't have to really deal with them because they were aborted. I think that's actually a good thing. So I'm actually pro-abortion.
Oh my God! Did you guys hear Dawn Harris? Real quick, did you guys hear Dawn Harris in the fucking chat? What's Dawn Harris? Hold on, no way. So Dawn Harris in the no way. Dawn Harris in the chat. Abortion is not nearly as bad as gun deaths in America.
Whoa.
50,000 deaths from guns. Half of those are suicide. And the rest of them are majority inner city. Black on black.
I just want to know what do poor white motherfuckers turn into? Do they turn into crazy people?
I was gonna say that theory about yours with the bad mothers and all of that. You semi have a point, but I would say you don't have a point because if they value life enough not to kill it, then they probably wouldn't be the bad mothers that it turns out to be. And I really think it's just about those family values, like Charlie Kirk was talking about, having family values, valuing life, then or also there's thousands of people to adopt, so that's also an option. But
I'm further on the right, and I believe.
Are these school shooters? Are these motherfuckers born from?
Shut up and let me. God damn.
Shut up, small dick bitch.
Go ahead.
Are these school shooters born from trailer trash?
Most of the time, I think they come from a variety of backgrounds. Some of them come from neighborhoods. Yeah.
Like the variety.
But you know what's? Yeah. I would say the big difference is that these core, these white school shooters, now they make the news because what they do is pretty horrible and disgusting. However, they're actually anomalous. If you think about it, out of the millions of children, you hear of a couple of these, I don't know, the frequency. And so this is rare. But you know what's rare? Turning on the news Monday morning, we've had 80 shootings today in Chicago this weekend. Who were the victims and who were the suspects? Blacks. That's just a statistical fact. In fact, more than half the homicides in the United States are committed by blacks. So I don't know. It seems like blacks have a problem.
Okay, that's cool. Most of the homicides crime is considered committed by the crackers. So that I get the argument. It's cool when you throw people in the ghetto, you take away resources, and also systematic racism, which I don't think that's true. So I can understand, how poor people kill each other. Now these so-called civilized motherfuckers. Like the motherfucker that knocked off Charlie K. We no longer gotta say you got JFK. We can upgrade it now to you got.
What about the guy who shot Charlie Kirk? I know, yeah, amazing.
You got
amazing. Oh, amazing.
So why are white?
All right. You're being a hood rat. Yeah, you're being a hood rat. Stop. Okay, do I need to start? Okay, monkey, shut your fucking mouth. Shut your fucking mouth. Okay.
Come on, Pepe. Don't use a stupid slur.
No, I have to.
You're reading your argument.
Okay, well, hold on a second. No, I'm not Charlie Kirk. I'm not gonna tell you to go. Hold on. All right, now I gotta mute you fucking monkeys. You fucking apes. Can't control yourselves. You fucking monkeys. I have to mute all. Mute all. Wow, he's coming through the mute all. Wow, bad ape. Holy shit. No banana for you, buddy. Now, please. See, he can't help himself. Now, if we look at the shooter, Charlie Kirk, he came in upper middle class background in southern Utah, around an all-Mormon family. They don't do drugs in Utah. They don't believe in drinking. You get looked down upon even for doing coffee, yes. And so, see, these people. Okay, you gotta go. See, And I see you have an ape in your PTR, so I mean, it figures. Now, you gotta go to the audience. Holy shit, dude, that was so rude.
They can't control themselves.
Can't we just all get Can't we just all guess what happens when you don't live your life through grace and you would rather live it through grace? Who else watched the 10 hour? Who else watched the 10 hour revival today?
I watched all of it.
I'll tell you what, man. I'm just a sidebar here, but dude, like, I put a church for strong Christian man. I'm going to church enough, once every 2 months, right? But man, I do this ideas of watching the man, it's like, okay, I want to lead it because I want to make a difference. And what can I do for the church? What can I do for the people? Church is not about building, church is people. What can I do with the church to help the people? Regardless of color, should. What can I do with the church for the people that will also preach and teach Christian values and conservative values? It's like, man, we're not looking at the top of the mountain, saying, bottom of the mountain, saying, hey man, you're going in the wrong direction. And that was a fucking good day. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, I don't think you can watch the 10 hours of that and say, well, the Republican Party, come on, no. Then you're not being serious.
I just
You're
want
not.
to see violation on
Well, I mean, that should show you, you had tens of thousands of these people, these Republicans in one place, and it was all kumbaya, everybody's behaving, it was, everybody was so peaceful, and like, this is what I want to tell, these lefties, these spiteful mutants that are just mad and angry at the world, and maybe they don't believe in God, because they were born ugly, and I probably hate God too, and, they're unhinged with mental illness. I understand your plight, not really. I can pretend to. Now, you all know that if you went to that place, being the most radical, you could be a tranny, but just like, and definitely not pass. Nobody's gonna put a finger on you. Nobody's gonna be mean to you. See, that is the difference between the left and the right. We are not the same. Occasionally you bait the right to reacting, and they do, because the right tends to be far more orderly. They're so much more predictable than the left. The left, they're just like, oh shit, oh god damn it, this is the news. Oh, see if they fucking chip out. They can't control themselves. They're angry, spiteful people.
How much you think? Serious question. After what I saw today, I've seen the last couple of weeks, I'm gonna say all of this is gonna die down in a couple of weeks, a couple of months. But man, don't you think the Democrat Party has a huge freaking problem on their hands?
I do think so.
Down. I think it's going to be such a monumental. It's like climbing Mount Everest. How can you overcome a Supreme Court justice that cannot tell you what a female is? You can't.
That's a DEI hire gone wrong. And I would say this. You saw you've seen the hateful hate. Like, look, if some lefty, like, I don't know, Ezra Klein or something like that, he was just shot in the same fashion, shot in the neck, and he just died, and his family was there, there's thousands of people watching, and a bunch of liberal students were watching. I would feel really sad. In fact, and if any right-winger made fun of the fact that he got shot like that, I would totally talk trash to them, because I think they're a piece of shit. Now, what you did see is when people on the left showed their ass. They showed how evil and spiteful they are. And then what you see with like Charlie Kirk and all of his followers, you see this nice, beautiful memorial service, and everybody's, it was mainly optimistic. It was obviously mournful, but it was, they looked like really nice, wholesome people. And that's what you're missing on the left. But you know who was talking on the left today? We had Jasmine Crockett. That dumb bitch was on CNN saying, yeah, she is a dumb bitch, and she was basically saying how, I feel mad, I feel disrespected. looks like, holy shit, you nasty, smug bitch. This like race politics is still a thing, and yeah, you're gonna get pushback from the right. Why wouldn't you? It's objective.
If I promise that he'll behave himself, can John have the tape if he actually speaks and
Maybe, but let Matt.
No, I just say they get out later. I just wonder how much more like with the left. Like today was a good day. I don't think you keep because otherwise you're full of it. If you tell me that today's 10-hour revival is just racist slurs and so when the left just make sure like I said they're already starting with cowbell. Do you think they're ever gonna come off of cowbell? Or is it just gonna be more cowbell until they don't exist?
Alright, Jonathan, no trouble.
Yeah, Matt, are you done whispering?
The moderators, the right wingers, moderators. That's how I'm trying to, some solidarity.
I'm just trying to make a mod.
Amazing. You don't abuse it.
You gotta behave yourself, John.
Yeah, everybody on this app in all these politically correct libtard rooms who have been calling Charlie Kirk a racist and that he got what he deserved. They've never presented any evidence. They have no receipts. They're just a bunch of screaming, insane, psychopathic, homicidal ideation losers who have no political power. They're just a bunch of crying, complaining little babies. And the gay African American ones are generally the most toxic and sociopathic, psychopathic amongst us. You all know it. It's here on this app. You can hear how homicidally ideated many of these black African American homosexuals are. They call white people the enemy. They talk about strategy on how to kill us. And I can say from a sociological, psychological, observational study, we are living with most likely 60 million highly brainwashed sociopaths that would have no problem killing you or cheering your death if you are a white, heterosexual, Christian normative male like Charlie Kirk. And so we are in a major, hold on, stop whispering. I can't hear you, Matt. I'm trying to tell you that this country has spent 25 years at war, that engaged in a COVID vaccine war against its own people with a pandemic, scamdemic, and now we have a final cultural war that we are going to...
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, he was doing amazing, bro.
I didn't take this. That was just a little too much going on, a little too long.
Well, then give him a chance to land his plane. Don't kick him
Yeah,
off the
he was
stage.
behaving himself and everything.
Yeah, and also, John, thank you for your submission. I appreciate it because I think you're a total asshole, for the record, as a person, and all the conversations we've had on Clubhouse. But I think that your submission was awesome.
I mean, I think that Charlie Kirk was such a good guy. Thank you, David. I think that Charlie Kirk was that's what offended me is I'm somebody who has more extremist views than him in some ways. And I was like, oh my god, he's such a nice young if you had a daughter. No, I said he doesn't have any. And so I was just saying, if you had a daughter and Charlie Kirk with his goofy smile was to show up, you'd be like, oh, he's gonna be such a good guy. Yeah, of course. Have fun, buddy. If it was me picking up, your daughter when I was in my 20s like him, I would have a shotgun out. I'd be not happening. And I tell my daughter she's not leaving. So this is me looking at the genuinely good guy who I don't think he has a hateful bone in his body, but just how quickly people are not only making him out to be a monster, but then celebrating that violent, horrible murder that the whole world had to see, his family had to witness. It's just so disgusting of people.
Can we talk about the elephant in the room really quick?
Yes, we're going to Kitover down, and we're going to let David be the trunk talker.
Yeah, don't tell me how to moderate the room.
No, I'm asking. I want to ask an honest question. Can I ask an honest question?
I wasn't talking to you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Can we talk about the fact that Trump should have not made that horrific speech.
Amen. Praise Jesus.
Like, he ruined
Totally
everything about today. He tried to turn it into a political rally. Erica was trying to get hugs from him. He was completely shut down. All of that. It was disgusting. Like,
why did you even watch
I totally agree, though.
it was horrific. It was so awkward.
He could not, that hug I was watching, I was like, man, he has, I think that's just the way Trump is. He doesn't, I'm not justifying it. What I'm saying is, you could just tell he has no emotional intelligence per se. He is.
Agreed.
With all due respect, I actually didn't care, didn't watch.
Well, that's fine that you didn't watch, but what we're talking about is what actually happened, and what actually happened is that Trump went on for an hour political speech and tried to follow, and I literally said to my husband, Trump's following Erica, there's no fucking way he's gonna be able to do this, and he proved me right that he has no social emotional skill to actually handle a situation like this, and it was a fucking disaster.
Let me ask her a question though.
Guys,
Let me ask her a question. Hold on a second. I know who he is. God damn it, dude! Stop being an autist. Just get. I know you can't help your autism, but just stop your autism for at least while you're in my room.
It's being cured tomorrow, by the way. I'm told that it's being cured tomorrow. Autism will be.
But when it comes to, and I'm not the one who moved you down. I will say this. I do wonder though, because here he is. He's at a public event. He is the president of the United States. Somebody else has to invite him up, because I already did it twice. He is the president of the United States, and he is making a address. I get it. It was I didn't know how to feel about it, but it's like, as a president, is he supposed to kind of give a political speech? I don't know. He's not. I didn't think he was going to give one.
Nobody else.
And if he did, I don't think he was going to be the great uniter. I think he's going to, humble brag and talk trash like he always does. But
I'm so glad you said that.
To be completely honest, it was a complete misstep of a beautiful day, honoring Charlie and what he did and what he stands for, and bringing people to the idea of being a man and getting married and having a family to progress the American idealisms. That was what the day was. And Trump came in and he literally tried to turn it. Oh my God, it was so horrific. And then whenever Erica tried to hug him, he kept on almost pushing her off. It was really awkward.
He didn't push her off.
Yeah, he didn't do that.
You know what?
Push her off. He didn't embrace her. Did he embrace her?
I agree with you in part. I feel like, I don't think it was as bad as all that. I think he did say a lot of good things about Charlie Kirk. And he said about him being an Eagle Scout and all this stuff. And a lot of it was about him. But two things I didn't like. One was him starting to talk about Maha and the announcement he has tomorrow, and all this stuff that has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. But then he tried to tie Charlie Kirk in by he would love it. And then the other thing I didn't like, I didn't think he should go last. Erica Kirk, hers was so beautiful and so well spoken. And a third thing I didn't like, just one last thing. I didn't like how he's like, I hate my opponents. And I'm just kind of right after Erica's speech, when she literally was saying the answer is love.
But you don't think that was a good thing? Because he's being correct. At least he's being honest.
No. She came up and she forgave her husband's killer on live television.
That's because she's a beautiful Christian. But Trump's not.
That's okay. Well,
Bro, the TPS on this room is wild.
It is wild. On both.
I'm a Trump supporter, and I think he missed an opportunity.
No, Trump made me laugh. I liked it. I think there were things I didn't like, and I don't think he should have gone last.
Well, I actually think that he should have gone last, and the reason being is he's obviously all eyes are going to be on him. But course, the people I was looking forward to speaking were going to be Erica and Trump. Trump did disappoint with his delivery, but I would say Erica, she seems like a very, she seems like a good-hearted woman. I know very little about her.
Also, what the fuck are you guys talking about? I mean, Charlie Kirk literally fucking cried in the 24 election when Trump was called his presidency. If it wasn't for Trump, there would be no fucking turning point. If it was fucking, Romney running again, there would be no fucking political movement behind the whole.
Either you also have that completely reversed.
Greatest fucking fanboy of Trump.
But that's a very.
There wouldn't be a Trump 47 if it weren't.
No, I agree. I agree, and that's why Trump had to go last, and that's why it was okay that if Trump was off for fucking 5 hours.
It was a really bad.
And Charlie Kirk, if he was alive, would have been standing in the fucking audience clapping to everything that
To
Trump
be
was
true,
saying.
but I would say this though. Okay, he is a fucking windbag, all right, and like,
Of course
he would have taken all of the steam out for the most emotional part. In succession, you had a bunch of people who at least either somewhat knew him to people who knew him well, and you kind of they all went through it. Then you have Trump doing his Trump shit. I think that would have been. That would have just thrown a wrench in everything, and Trump wouldn't be.
Yeah, he's not known to be a fucking emotional guy.
Obviously, that's why.
Real quick.
She should have gone before Erica.
Hey, girls, women on the station, y'all ever been on a first date, and it's like it didn't go very well, and he comes and gives you a hug? Like, that was
Trump. That was so Trump. The side hug. The side hug to the widow. That he's got it. He's got it.
Better than that creepy shit.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Yeah, he gave her a full on hug.
He hugged her.
Hold on. But he gave her a full on hug at first. Hold on. Because I remember, he gave her a full on hug at first, and then he kissed her on the cheeks like 4 times. I remember I was like, oh, he's doing it again.
I want the full
He did the cheek kisses. And then.
full frontal hug.
So we got.
I do have a question. Can I just chime in? I want to know, why do we expect Trump to be anything more
Than what Trump
than
is.
himself?
Amen. I agree.
So the thing I was going to mention is that Charlie Kirk's wife, and Trump.
Well,
I guarantee, had he said, "Hey, I'll go for you, you go last," she would have fucking said, "No, Mr. President, you go last."
That's right. She
110%.
She was the one that wrote had his funeral service.
Yeah, I was about to say it. This was obviously these people. First of all, and I do think that when it comes to the people that were putting all of this together, they have a lot more experience in media when it comes to planning these kinds of events where you have speakers. I'm sure this was incredibly deliberate, and I think as soon as Trump started speaking, I felt like he wrote the somber, emotional feeling I was getting throughout the whole thing, and kind of just went. And so, that's why I think it's good it ended on her.
All right.
That's the problem.
It's ridiculous to think that a sitting president would not be the keynote speaker at any event. Turning Point Action is a political event. It's not just for Trump.
Yeah, it is.
It's not.
Dude,
really.
shut up. It's a Republican, conservative.
Yeah, it's not for Trump. Turning Point isn't for Trump, but this was a political event. This was all about galvanizing Christians. You got to understand that these people work in politics. So when Trump gives his explanation of when Charlie was shot, he ended his meeting in the Oval Office with some very powerful people. That was an insight, a little bit inside of how influential Charlie was in politics. Look, I think y'all are being a little too Trump. I thought you tied it in very well.
Isn't that our right?
We heard you, Bella. We heard you. Let me finish. All right. I think Trump tied it in very well when he did raise political talking point, tying in Charlie and how influential Charlie was in their, being a person
person builder or people builder, as Trump said. He was responsible for mending the relationship between him and RFK Jr. He was the first one that told Trump about J.D. Vance, and I think exposing this at a political event was proper too.
Yeah, Joe, I agree with you. Was it ended with levity, and so that's good. I just didn't like everything he said, and I guess I would disagree with you somewhat because I think his funeral isn't a political event. It's a funeral for him.
Susanna, do you think Charlie would have wanted it to be?
We need this to be clear. This was not a funeral. There was a private funeral.
Yeah.
It was not open to the public. This was a memorial. However, it is a political event. Okay, it's Turning Point's political event in remembrance of Charlie.
It's a memorial.
If you're going to continue on with his message in politics, you're going to turn his memorial into a political message. And like it or not, it's all about galvanizing Christians.
Charlie would have loved it, Joe. That's the thing.
So I do see Abraham is on the stage. I'm guessing he's more than willing to point out something that Charlie Kirk said was wrong. Abraham, do you have something, being the black scholar that you are, anything that you could point out that he said that was wrong? Mr. Abraham. Guess not. All right.
Abracadabra.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's why he came in here. Sure.
Yeah, so one of these says, can you point out anything Charlie Kirk said that was wrong? Absolutely. And for one, I'll point out when a young man, a young black child asked him a question and said that, hey, I heard you want to repeal the Civil Rights Act. And he said, no, that's a lie. I never said that. And he pointed at the little boy and put his finger in his face and said, I said it was a mistake. And then he walked off, which I found to be incredulously disgusting and offensive and unnecessary. He could have expounded more to the young man, but he didn't.
Why is that offensive?
His finger in his face and walked off. And him being against the Civil Rights Act is disgusting, right?
Why is it disgusting?
But do you know
to be against something that made Black Americans full citizens of this country and remove the barriers that have for generations taken away our rights as citizens in order to be able to participate in the force of what it is to be an American citizen, to which the birthright that was guaranteed to us.
Okay, all that jazz. Okay, sure.
Absolutely. And using the woke right, using the woke left as an excuse on why the civil rights movement was a mistake is amateur and quite disingenuous.
Sure. I haven't made that argument yet. So, what I'm curious about is that amazing. And so, when you have the Civil Rights Act, do you remember why, like, for example, when the New Right was really starting to get into motion? See, I kind of more or less favored the old, the paleo-conservatives that came before. Water. Damn it, David, you're drunk and you're just fucking, how can I shit on Pepe's stage? Like while he's fucking talking, like, Jesus Christ. Now,
buddy.
So, I would just say, holy shit. So, okay, we'll start with the New Right Republicans, which they were not they didn't really have that kind of ideological lens. They were against the Civil Rights Act for a reason. Do you know what it was?
By what they at the time, I forgot his name. He ran for president of the
Barry Goldwater.
Goldwater Republicans. Their argument was that it violated states' rights.
No, there's another one. That's not why they were against.
Conservatives had made for the last 60 years.
No, these are the New Right. No, this was the New Right. See, he was a lot different from
the last 60 years. It's been because the civil rights movement violated states' rights.
No. It was because what they first saw is that with the Civil Rights Act, you were going to start seeing things like quotas and they were like staunchly against it, understandably so. And so, what you did get was affirmative action, and you did in a way get like quotas, which basically you're gonna have people like what the fuck is his name, Jesse Jackson and his Rainbow Coalition, and they're gonna say you ain't gotta have enough brothers working in your company, so you need to write out this check, $200,000. We gonna go ahead and give you your employees the best training program available, so you have more black folks. And that's basically like, and basically people had to try to quote unquote, get a quote, fill a quota system for a lot of people. So he was right.
Charlie Kirk's argument, and a quota system once again is disingenuous because the Supreme Court ruled that quota systems were unconstitutional, and they were outlawed in more than 33 states.
That's not true.
That is very true. It was actually rendered unconstitutional by the Supreme Court in 1990, sir. The Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional.
You're wrong on that.
No, I'm not wrong. It's a fact.
You are wrong.
They rendered quota systems unconstitutional.
Abraham, so I didn't see the one where he points at a kid and says it's a mistake, but I saw at least two others, maybe three,
Like
where he talked about the civil rights thing, and his argument about it was he said that the intent was good, that he agreed with it wholeheartedly, but the reason why he had an issue with it is because we're broad. And it did things like, for instance, today people are declaring the Civil Rights Act and saying, you need to ask for, we shouldn't have voter ID because the Civil Rights Act, and that's prejudice if you ask for voter ID. I don't think it's prejudice to expect someone to have voter ID just because of the color of their skin or not the color of their skin. Everybody should have voter ID. I don't think that's a big deal.
This is the conservatives. The disingenuousness of conservatives when they make that argument. So Title II of the Civil Rights Act makes sure that states didn't put on undue process on people as a means of discrimination. So what conservatives have done in conservative states is they'll say things like, oh, we're requiring ID, but what they do is in predominantly black counties where there's one DMV, so you don't even know what I'm saying, you just automatically say
somebody bring Abby up.
All right, hold on a second. So I did. Where'd she? Oh, there she is. Serendipity. You said you wanted to play a clip. Is it like related to this?
Yes.
Yeah, you can play it. That means everybody has to shut up. Go ahead, Serendipity.
All right.
Had to say about the Civil Rights Act.
If you had the opportunity, you would get rid of the Civil Rights Act. No, I think you should have a one-page bill that says that racial discrimination based on race is illegal and will not be tolerated in the United States of America. Most black Americans don't serve men and female sports. Would you agree? Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. No, for sure, right? Believe it or not, the civil right is now being used to keep men playing in women's sports. So the Civil Rights Act was used to help black America originally. Totally get that. But now the way it was written is that any claim of identification, someone says, I'm a woman, therefore I can compete in your volleyball team, they commit a civil rights claim. And so what we're saying is, no, it should be specified to racial, not gender or all that other stuff. And there are all these other provisions as well.
Now do you get it?
That makes sense to me.
And then cookie jar, bro, reigned racial discrimination was in our system. It took Title II and other parts of the Civil Rights Act to those things. So it just couldn't have been one statute, one simplistic language and statute.
No. Mr. Black Scholar, no. See, this is bullshit, okay? What has been used, and so this is kind of why the Supreme Court, and this is what I love about the Supreme Court, is that they had to, of course, under the threat of perjury, they have to, or the penalty of perjury, they have to make sure that they provide all of their facts. And we did see that there was, in fact, racial discrimination that was actually occurring. So Barry Gold, even though I didn't entirely agree with them, he was 100% correct. What you saw were, especially at the expense of Asian students, you were African Americans or were given slots at Harvard, whites also were being affected by it, but this was to benefit blacks. So there was absolutely racial discrimination that was occurring. I don't see how you can. The facts were bared out in the Supreme Court. You can't really deny that.
What you mean? I'm talking about what Charlie Kirk just said. Charlie Kirk said there should have been simplistic language. You don't discriminate, and I'm saying that the racial discrimination in the United States of America was ingrained and.
But how would it be ingrained? But how would it be ingrained if he said there's no? But if the law said you can't have racial discrimination, it should be very clear and
because there were things that there were state statutes, local and city statutes.
Yeah, but that would end up those things. Yeah, but that would end up basically saying. No, it wouldn't. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Because if it was racially discriminatory, the law would strike it down.
No,
so like you're wrong.
Law doesn't work that way. Federal simplistic language does not address state statutes, city statutes, or local statutes.
Oh.
And so if the law is that vague, then people aren't going to follow it.
Okay. So, but I'm just curious though. So, if they don't follow simple language in federal law, they're somehow going to follow laws that are I guess very detailed. But why would it matter if it's federal law?
Are going to argue that those federal statutes don't apply to them.
Okay, tell me how. No, hold on a second. No, that's not how it works. Hold on a second.
That is excellent.
No.
Understand how it
works. Okay, Mr. Black Scholar. Mr. Black Scholar, here's the problem, is that if the language is very simple, okay, you cannot discriminate based on like whatever protective class. Now, if you were to show that you were discriminating against somebody, you're violating law. Like, what more details do you need?
According to your logic, how many amendments to the Constitution are there?
There are many. I don't have the exact number off the top of my head. I'm just being honest. I didn't go to law school or anything.
According to your logic, if the law is as simple, then why can't just one amended to not even amended? Why one simple a statement in the Constitution is enough? That should be enough.
Well, okay, but that's stupid. That's stupid logic. That's dumb logic.
That's not how it works.
That is dumb logic because the Constitution. Okay, no, bad scholar.
No,
answer my question.
Okay, I can answer.
You're wrong.
Okay, it's really quick. I'll let somebody else go. But it's really simple. Okay, our Constitution is not based around race. It's literally like there's searches and seizures, a right to own firearms.
Not race.
Right. All right, shut the fuck up, scholar. Scholar, I understand you're a hood scholar, and so you got the facts and receipts.
Not race, the law.
Okay, hold on.
Wait, Abraham, you're saying, right, like that there needs to be more amendments and so on and so forth. In a way, to me, listening to you, it sounds like you're in agreement with Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk's criticism of it is that it was too broad and people were using it for all kinds of things. And he was saying that the intent was great.
There should have been one description in law passed by Congress, and that says it should be racial discrimination.
No, that's not how the law works.
He didn't say there should have been any adjustments.
That means you're a bad lawyer.
Hey guys, we need to do a test. Okay, because David has a lot to say. He's got it wrong, so we're gonna see. Okay, give your best, like, I don't know, answer that you can. Try to sound as sober as you can. Just go ahead and please tell him why he's wrong.
No, everyone, for the record, everyone's fine. Let's all be nice. There's some person, I'm not going to name names, but there's somebody in this room who is trying to be somebody who understands law.
Amazing.
But they're wrong.
Yeah, but I'm asking to prove that person wrong, why they're wrong. Not
okay,
say they're wrong because they're wrong.
If said person wants to talk to me about why they're
But you were trying to talk to them on a public stage, so just address them here.
Okay, well,
David, you're being a little impulsive, wanting to speak, and you're a little drunk, so, you know, you kind of shouldn't do that.
Yeah, you should shut the fuck up.
okay, whoa, first of all, don't say the F word. If said person wants to talk about law, I'm willing to debate that. But as of right now, when he's yelling at
How many amendments are there?
when that person
David, how many amendments are there?
one second, when that person is yelling at
When I told David to shut up, all the smiley faces looked like a constellation of stars.
Okay, Abby said there was 27 in the chat, so I just said 7. I don't even know what the 27th amendment is. I just don't know. I didn't have to go to law school or take a bar exam. I don't know. But amazing.
okay, if there's somebody who wants to
David, but you're trying to jump in to say a lot, but let's go back to the conversation.
I'm willing to Pepe, obviously, if it's anybody who has like a law degree who's willing to debate me.
Yeah, there's people on here that have law degrees, but you know,
Okay,
it's
well,
fine.
so then
Friends closer, Jewish attorneys closer.
My point to you, sir, is
for the record, I'm not Jewish. For the
we're
record.
going to use Charlie Abby's logic that all you need is one simple language, and that language says that it's against the law to discriminate against people of any race, and that's all the language that is needed
you're incorrect.
to simplify, to rectify.
You're incorrect.
Hold on, sir. To rectify the racial discrimination against black people and black people not being.
But you're saying rectify. So hold on a second. Okay, David.
Counselor.
That's what he said. I'm only
Okay,
going
David,
on what
stop.
Charlie Kirk said.
Okay, but I actually agree with Charlie Kirk's argument to an extent. See, when it comes, if racial discrimination is wrong, it means you can't, if you're an employer, if you're a school, if you're, like, wherever, you cannot racially discriminate. And so, that's pretty clear, cut and dry. Now, can you tell me, no, what is about, okay, hold on.
This was about status. This was the point of the Civil Rights 1965 Act. It was about bringing black Americans into proper status, right? Because black Americans were not in proper status. They were considered full citizens.
Okay.
Legal to
David, please stop.
It was legal to discriminate against us based off of our race.
Don't say us. Us is not appropriate. Like as an attorney, like the way you say.
Okay, between the two of you, like, holy shit.
This dude talks every time.
Counselor, you're wrong. You're wrong. The way you said that,
I'm saying
you said that
we
was
don't
wrong.
have effective arguments.
No, hold on. I think there's an effective argument not discriminate. Now, what you want to see is your strong black.
You racially discriminated.
Yeah. Ziggy, stop being a faggot. Ziggy, stop being a lefty faggot. I'm not hiring or firing or enrolling people in school. Okay, so you can pray for me all you want. I don't have hate. Now, here's the thing. Amazing. Shut your faggot mouth, please. Now, holy shit. Now, I think that you want your black strong brothers and sisters to have, the best leg up, that by any means necessary. And I know you're pro reparations.
Stop that, you're trolling.
I'm not trolling. I'm actually being dead serious. Like, you guys want the best for your people. You want to see black people elevated and even reach the top, which I'm not going to say is like necessarily something that I think all groups kind of want. So I'm not going to knock you for it. But I don't see this about justice. I don't see this as justice. I see this as you wanting a leg up and a fucking handout, and that's why you're trying to justify this bullshit. And I actually think that's why the black community, in a way, I do think that the most ethno-narcissistic, racial group in the United States is clearly African Americans. And because of our history, we've allowed you guys to just go on and on and on and bitch and make excuses for everything. Whereas there's no other ethnic group that's really, Native Americans were treated pretty badly and they still kind of do it. they're not like you guys. And it's just like, I think it's almost like that's why you guys didn't grow up. Because have all of these fucking problems.
So, Pepe, what you don't understand is I leg up over any other American. I want what the Constitution promised every other American.
It didn't promise affirmative action. Yeah, but it didn't promise affirmative action in the fucking Constitution.
Affirmative action was rendered unconstitutional. Criminals were rendered unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. Again, I want as much as the government can guarantee. So when you talk about 1964 Civil Rights Act being a mistake, you cannot be disingenuous by bringing up things like quotas when you know that was rendered unconstitutional.
We had affirmative action.
You can't say things like, well, simple language like.
Are you saying that you disagree with the Supreme Court being the supreme law of the land?
No, I'm saying
So you're okay with it?
you can't be disingenuous by stating.
It's not disingenuous. We literally had, we've had decades. Bullshit.
That in the law.
Okay, bullshit. We literally had decades of affirmative action. We're unqualified people. We're taking the slots, okay, of qualified people that are white or Asian. And this literally was a thing that's been proven. We all know it. And then what's really funny is that you racial justice warriors have the audacity to say, well, this is a Charlie Cook to wonder if there's a black surgeon or a black pilot, if he's qualified. Yeah, nobody would have that fucking question if there wasn't a such thing as affirmative action. If the same requirements were held standard across every race, you wouldn't have those questions. But because we know there clearly is not, okay, I'm generally going to be a little bit more comfortable with some European last name doctor, a Jewish last name doctor, an Asian last name doctor. Why? Because I know they had to jump through the hurdles. Whereas Mr. Jefferson, who became a surgeon, I don't know. I can't trust that he's actually as competent as his credentials say he should be.
Rant you're having. The facts
But it's inaccurate, man.
was rendered unconstitutional.
Affirmative action took place, and it has taken place for decades.
For the last 60 years, conservatives have been arguing. It's nothing to do with quotas. What conservatives have been arguing is for the past 60 years is that the Civil Rights Act violated states' rights. Now, Charlie Kirk.
That wasn't the argument, you stupid fuck. That was not the goddamn argument.
Arguableness. Charlie Kirk.
Where did Charlie Kirk say that the Civil Rights Act violated states' rights? He never made that fucking argument. I'm not even talking about Charlie Kirk's arguments. Charlie Kirk was actually a fucking gentleman. He would say some of the deleterious effects that ended up happening as a result of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, where all of a sudden you had like overwhelming majority of people. I'm not the one getting you, by the way. You had the overwhelming majority of people, the black people, they were married, they had intact families. The crime problem was not nearly as bad as it ended up being within one fucking generation. Okay, in the 80s and 90s. Okay, it was absolutely fun. It did have some bad effects on the fucking black family. But you can't fucking deny that.
The Civil Rights Act was being expanded to other groups. That's what came out of his mouth. The LGBTQ community, as well as the trans community, asked the Civil Rights Act of 1964, as well as the 14th Amendment, to be expanded to them. He had a problem with that. I've heard him say it a million times. And all I'm saying to you is Charlie Kirk said that that is wrong. His surmise is disingenuous and is rooted in white supremacy. This is the argument that the right has been making for the last 60 years, is that the Civil Rights Act should have never happened because it violates states' rights and it extended rights to other groups
truths that they find irreconcilable, that they don't like, that they find morally objective.
Well, we have a lawyer in the audience, and she did, kind of this shit on your whole thing like that, affirmative action not being a thing. Well, I invited her up earlier, she can come up if she wants.
I invited her too in the messages. She said that he's on the phone and that's why he can't right now, but hopefully he'll be on the phone soon.
So, would Abraham, do you think, him now the 14th Amendment in the Civil Rights Act to be expanded to like trans people? Do you think that's indicative of white supremacy? Basically,
I would have an issue with that, but to say that it was a mistake and it should have never happened, yes, I think that's indicative of white supremacy. And not only that,
How is it indicative of white supremacy when it's about gender?
That Dr. King was a terrible person.
He was. His actual. That is a fact. He was an actual piece of fucking shit. He was actually a lot more radical than he let on. And he is somebody that would. The FBI files being released on him. He did a lot of. Yeah, he was a gross person. And I would say I'll compare him to a white guy. Like hold on. Wow. I'll compare him to a white guy like Bill Clinton. Who's, by the way, he's been accused of rape several times. And it's my understanding, was getting head from Monica Lewinsky, a Jew, while talking on the phone with Yasser Arafat. I mean, amazing. You can't make this shit up. And so, I like it. Yeah, he was a philandering, womanizer, very bad person. He was definitely, no, Dr. King was, I would say, he did not have the behavior of a good pastor. He definitely did not. He's not the same people made him out to be.
Part of it too was dipping into socialism, and that's the stuff Charlie Kirk was talking about too. So
He was a socialist.
Yeah, he has reasons behind his criticisms of Martin Luther King Jr. It's not just because he was a black man who helped black people. That wasn't why he disliked Martin Luther King Jr.
You're asking me.
Yeah, let's say go.
Already gave you the time and the place. Come, big shot.
That guy just said, damn, what do you say, Dr. King or Martin Luther King makes us kind of, I'm sorry, this guy makes, King makes us kind of like a saint. So everybody knew what the fuck MLK was up to. He was not really a normal guy behind the scenes. Second thing.
What evidence? Zero evidence. What evidence?
So the thing is, that's why they put that little small excerpt in that movie. That was a little jab.
Abraham, we're actually intellectually honest because we consider this.
He gave you the time and the place. Come, big shot. Gonna be something in life.
Other than anecdotal that he committed any crime.
It's not relatively speaking.
Okay, I understand that you're ride or die for your people, but he was absurd. He was absurd. Black police freaking in front of these men. Showing her how to do it. Like, I'm sorry, but this is not a man of the Lord. I mean, no offense. Jesus would be like, he wouldn't say, hold on. He wouldn't be like, let me show you how to handle no dildo. Here, my sister. Like, that would not happen. Like, this guy is a freak.
And Dr. King, because let's just say for a moment, was being handed and let's look at the founding fathers, right? Let's look at their moral standards.
Yeah, okay was saying that they were doing that shit too. Yeah.
That's a lie. Because one thing about the right is when you talk about the evilness of the founding fathers, they start to virtual signal. They talk about what great men they were and how they were divinely chosen by God and how God had ordained them and had anointed them. We talk about Jefferson and the fact that Jefferson was raping.
Mr. Jefferson, you can't say rape. That wasn't a fair. You can't say that.
Forcing a girl into sex,
You can't say that.
to which he fathered 5 children with.
Okay, so that makes amazing points.
Yeah, absolutely. Abraham, you feel those movies and Abraham used to be fine.
What is the moral standard behind
Abraham, let this black man speak.
that's an
So Abraham, the difference is we can separate the two. We can say in this department, yeah, he was a piece of shit, but then he also did good things. With Martin Luther King, Abraham, can I finish? Can I just finish, bro?
That's me on it, bro.
So Abraham, the difference is when it comes to okay, it's bullshit. You guys want to totally deny it. It's okay to say, hey, in this arena, then okay, was a great guy, but then in this arena, he was a piece of shit. But my second point I wanted to make was that I had a room the day before yesterday, and I played the clip. Malcolm X was on record for being against the civil rights. He wasn't in approval of it. He said, quote, that the Constitution wasn't enough. You don't need a civil rights movement. It's fucking overkill, and it's not going to change. So, what's that? Go ahead.
So he didn't believe that the Civil Rights Act was going to work. That's why he didn't support it. And again, you have the claim that you may forget the opportunity. That's the difference. We know that.
Answer his question. What else did he say? Abraham, answer the question. Abraham, you have to answer the question. What else did he say?
Don't just take that little soundbite. What else did he say alongside? Because I just played the clip in front of a room full of people the day before yesterday. What else did he say besides that?
He's a black nationalist. He told no that it was going to work. In that interview, that it would give black people the full capacity and rights in this country that we deserve.
And what did he say alongside that? He said we already have the Constitution, and all they had to do was enforce the Constitution. And he criticized the fact that desegregation was ruled on by the Supreme Court in the 1950s, and 10 years went by, and they didn't fucking enforce the ruling. He said that all they had to do was enforce the Constitution. There's no need for a fucking Civil Rights Act. This is not going to change much. So he wasn't saying what is wrong.
That was a problem because when you had in America, and this is what he was on. Why I say that he was being disingenuous was because you had the Dred Scott case that basically that literally said that no white man was compelled to respect the Negro or the rights of the Negro. So that was the issue in the Civil Rights Act, even though you had a Civil Rights Act of 1870, which is what he was talking about. Obviously, it didn't work because you had generations and over a century of racial discrimination in black Americans not being considered full citizens. So you had to have a Civil Rights Act in order for us to rectify the status of it. So then, okay, so if that's not true, then if you're saying that in 1870, since the 1870 Civil Rights that was passed, right? Are you telling me in 1870, why did you have over 100 years of racial discrimination in America where black Americans were not allowed to vote? And it was legal according to city-state statutes to discriminate against black Americans because we did not have proper persona status according to the law.
And that was Malcolm X's point. Is that the Constitution renders all men created equal, and that was his point. If you just Abraham, you just shut the fuck up for 2 seconds. I'm gonna let you cut me off and shut up so we finish. So again, this is why he said that the Supreme Court, and this is what we said, the highest court of the land ruled on the interpretation of desegregation and ruled it unconstitutional. 10 years went by, actually more than that, because you still had schools in the 70s that were just being desegregated. So that was his complaint, was that the Supreme Court already ruled on it. It's not being enforced. All we gotta do is enforce the Constitution and the Supreme Court rulings. There's no need for a fucking Civil Rights Act. That's exactly what he said, and that was his script.
Did not rule on anything. The Supreme Court ruled in the Dred Scott case, sir. This time, no, you don't know our history, American history. The Supreme Court ruled that no white man is compelled to respect the rights of the Negro. So there had to be a remedy to that. There had to be a remedy to what the Supreme Court had ruled on. Now, it took an act of Congress to remedy that, and that was the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Again, the law passed in 1870, 10 years after, 5 years after emancipation, but still you had rampant right to discriminate against Black Americans because Negroes at the time, because they don't have proper status. Many courts throughout the South and throughout the United States deemed that Black Americans were not full citizens based off of the Dred Scott ruling. So the Civil Rights Act came to remedy that.
What are we talking about right now?
We're talking about we're talking about Abraham getting bodied by Sig, even though Abby's not even on stage, which is fucking wild. Imagine what we have if Abby's up there.
Abraham, I have a couple questions for you then. One, because this is one of the reasons Charlie Kirk was objecting to this whole thing. Do you think it is more difficult for a Black person to get an ID than it is a white person? Because I don't think Black people are capable like that. And then the second thing I'm asking you is, do you think it's okay for men to be in women's restrooms? Because that's the other reason why Charlie Kirk was saying, he was saying that the thing is too broad, that the intent was good, but it was way too broad, it needed to be narrowed down, and to protect people's rights from discrimination, he's all for that, but not to have men in women's spaces, and not to be like, well, I can't get an ID because of my race, which is ridiculous, because that's a normal thing that anyone can get.
Go ahead, Abraham.
He's gonna chat GPT.
Abby, come on. I know you're busy.
She's on the phone or something.
Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, okay, I'm in a public space, so I'm just that's the thing that the left hated the most about him. And now that he's dead, you see the left, you see the Democratic Party going into overdrive, trying to convince us that we shouldn't feel bad that he was assassinated, that we shouldn't feel bad about that we should feel bad about what he said. In the House of Representatives, there was a bill that said that would have condemned the assassination of Kirk and then condemned political violence. 58 Democrats voted against it. Fuck them. They're standing on the side. They hate the conservatives and they hate him so much that they're willing to endorse a political violence.
That's true.
That's it. That's
Yeah, but Jasmine Crockett, even when
I don't care. Okay, just let me say this because I can't do any back and forth. The bottom line is this. Look at my PTR. It has a quote from Dostoevsky in the 1800s where he says, if you disagree with the left, they will attack you viciously. They did it then. They're still doing it now. Charlie was a good person, and guess what? I got a special message for Black Americans. If you are a Black liberal, okay, you're not going to convince us that he's a bad person. You're not going to convince us that we are bad people because we are conservative. So talk about Dred Scott, talk about the 400 years. Sit home and do anything you want. It ain't gonna work. We are good people. That's my talk.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. So Abraham, you want to mention something? You see, here's the thing. Charlie Kirk, he believed in the Constitution. He was a Christian man. He went to church. You know, I can't say I much better man than me, much nicer man. I think he's a kind, gentle man. Now, I personally, he would pray for but he wants to discourse with you guys. That's what he'd want to do. But like, I'm somebody who would want to take you, Abraham, and put you in the gulag and make you eat snails and make you your life a living hell. Why? Because I understand how you people think and you people hate us. And I personally would want to do horrible things that I cannot say on this app to you people. And when I say you people, I'm talking about you people on the left. I don't really grant you much of your
because hate.
any of the shit that you say. No, it's not hate. It's not hate. It's not hate. No, it's because how do you deal with hateful people like you? You just fucking gulag them, make them face a wall. It's just they get rid of them.
I mean, you're talking about hateful Abraham, and you make justifications. Why it's okay to try to.
I was actually just joking. I don't want to do any of those things. But there is a part of me that does. Okay, shut your fucking faggot mouth. Okay, David. I don't for so long, the left is kind of like, oh, well, they're in our camp. We'll just kind of just like.
Like this, but anybody looks at it like that.
Kind of see how
We say, oh my God, isn't that bogus?
on the far left, especially with all these fatty secular Jews that were like, oh white supremacy's bad. Okay, gays, yay! They're doing all this shit, and all of a sudden, October 7th happens, and then what ends up happening? The Jews are bad. Oh fucking! Oh my God, why are they doing this to me? It's like, I don't know. Why did you stupid faggots? Now you have to deal with the consequence, and now your faggot sons and daughters have to deal with getting harassed in college. Well, why did you do it? Like, you retards wanted to ride that dragon and bitch about anti-Semitism afterwards. Amazing. Like, no, I mean, and this isn't always. It's like, I'm talking about the secular faggy left-wing Jews, not the other ones. But, you do get this, you get people like you. Pete, there is no reason why a moral person should ever have an alliance with somebody like you. Like, you're, and I mean this, and I'm being sincere when I say this, like, you were a piece of fucking shit. You will, I've never heard you have, like, a good faith debate the whole time I've been on this fucking app. I mean, even, what's really funny is that as pro-black as you are, you're somebody who gets end up, whatever. Thank you. Shouted out to their friends. Okay, so let's just put a name on it. Like Blue Facts, you can go into his room, and he's mostly.
He's Pan-African. We don't share the same political ideology.
But a lot of the FBA's amazing. But to be fair,
That's why they don't rock with me. You cause the Caribbeans, you know this.
Okay, you're amazing. The FBA's don't fuck with you either. You're acting like you're acting like I don't, because I'm not black, I don't understand all of these nuances, and I don't see how the other black people that are even FBA, how they treat you. They think you're an obnoxious, hateful piece of shit.
They love my rhetoric, my political ideology. Absolutely.
You and Dr. Articulate. You and Dr. Articulate are people that are raised. Okay, alright. Amazing.
Facts are Pan-African.
Amazing. But you and Dr. Articulate are both people that the blacks, whether they're Pan-African, whether they're FBA, like you're somebody that even like you're look at the blade, keep bringing that in. Switch it to this. Transforming you're not
Like cable blade, this thing is Now,
And this has been the case for years.
It's a prediction. Wow, transforming over 100 moving
You know who
parts.
I am. I have a different name.
This
You
thing.
know who I am. But you're not. You're somebody who just like. Why is it that your own people, the FBAs and the Pan Africans, with the majority of blacks, they listen to you and they don't like you?
Alright, dang it, thank you.
You haven't even been in FBA spaces to make that kind of term. I literally have been in reparation FBA
I was friends with all of them. I'm friends with all of them on Twitter. You fucking dipshit.
Freeman love you, dipshit. I'm on X. I'm on X in Freeman spaces, you loser.
I'm friends with all of them.
I meet up with people in the Freeman movement, you loser. The only motherfuckers that hold me on Clubhouse is Pan-African motherfuckers. But that's neither here.
No,
I'm a better human being than Charlie Kirk because you would never hear me say that there must be a number of people that we should be accepting.
What would the FBAs? What would the FBAs say? What would be the FBAs? Okay, you stupid fuck. What do the FBAs? What if the FBAs? By the way, I'm friends with all of them on Twitter, and a lot of them were on Clubhouse at one point in time. I'm just curious. What did they say about Charlie? What did they say about Charlie Kirk?
You'll never laugh at children in Gaza getting bombed like Charlie Kirk did. You'll never see me. I support the state of Israel, but you will never hear me laugh at children getting bombed like Charlie Kirk did. So I'm a much better human being.
Where did Charlie Kirk laugh? Hold on. No, because you're being a slimy faggot again. Where did Charlie Kirk laugh? Charlie Kirk laughed at children being bombed in Gaza. Okay, either post the fucking facts or it did not happen. No, he would not do that. Okay, show. He did not. I would not picture him saying stupid Muslims either. Show me the clip where he said stupid Muslims, and show me where he laughed at dead children in Gaza. I'm waiting.
Yes, he made jokes.
Okay, shut the fuck up and post the guy. Yeah.
And then went on to laugh about it and then say stupid Muslims. Yeah, he said it.
Okay, post the clip.
Alright, so, hey, brother, do you mind if I say something real quick? So, I was gonna say real quick, like, this whole Charlie Kirk fiasco is pretty in line with America, right? Like, whenever any major celebrity, there's gonna be parts of the country that's gonna be happy, right? When Martin Luther King died, a lot of people were happy. A lot of white people in the country were celebrating. When, like, Malcolm X died, a lot of white people in America were celebrating, particularly conservative America, right? So the fact that you have Democrats celebrating that Charlie Kirk died is pretty in line with this country. And I also think he's an irrelevant white boy. Who the fuck cares? Like, we're only making this big for now, and someone will replace him next week and we'll keep it moving. Like, this is just normal in this country. I don't
He's not irrelevant. I don't think you understand. Maybe it's because you're a writing person, but he's actually. I'm somebody who made fun of Charlie Kirk. Okay, I'm admitting this. I made fun of him. Now, I thought we may agree on like 70% of things. The one thing though that I would say about him is that he's not a bad person. He had beliefs that I did not share, but I did not see him. I didn't see those differences in beliefs as making him a bad person. It could be that I'm the bad person because where my beliefs are different from his. But I genuinely believe he was a good person. And, listening to him, he's first of all, you say he's a nobody. No, he was definitely a somebody. When it comes to the under 30 crowd in the United States, he's somebody that all conservatives knew who he was. But it's also how he died, how visible it was, how violent it was. That had such a lasting impression on us. And I see such a sweet soul like him being killed like that. And it's like, this is not a guy that's on the far right. He's not a mean person. And it happened to him? Like, why? Just because he's on the right? He's not even a hateful or divisive person, in my opinion.
So you ask why? Because this is the norm in this country. Like, this has happened over and over again. Nobody cares. It's going to happen again.
Oh, I fucking care.
This is an American problem. Who cares? We've acknowledged that that some people have to
Hey,
die.
you say it's an American problem. When is it? No. But you say it's an American problem. When have you had a prominent left-wing or right-wing influencer that was shot in public, where all of us can see it, multiple angles like that? When's the last time that happened?
So we're bringing up.
No, I'm asking. I said in public influence. Nobody knows who those. Okay, outside of Minnesota, nobody. Outside of Minnesota, I'm not the one muting. But outside of Minnesota, none of us knew who those fuckers were. Okay, once again, let me. Everybody knew on the. Charlie Kirk was much more famous than them. Now my question is, when have you seen a prominent influencer on the left or the right that was shot publicly in front of an audience like that? You can't answer the question.
Well, here's the thing, right? This is a stupid question. We're talking about the America structure as we have a consistent pattern of shooting politics. This is normal in this country. This is the thing.
Okay, when is the last time?
Whether it be public or not, that's a you problem.
Trump getting shot at, okay, and not getting killed was the last time I can think of in a couple decades of that happening. Yeah, where it was actually on camera. Now we can look at the baseball game with the Scalise and the Republicans that got shot, but that was not on video. But I can only Charlie Kirk is even one. Like that is not an everyday occurrence. It's like it's not headline in the local news, not a headline, but I'll be a story in the local news. But if I was like, I don't know, Charles Barkley or I don't know, somebody who's like not even like famous at this moment, but people still know, it would make headlines, even nationally. Now, Charlie Kirk was somebody who was well known, and what makes it very unique is not only how public it was and how
overall,
violent it
really
was,
cool looking tree
but
swing.
he was
Definitely something
engaging in
that's pretty
political
unique.
debate while it happened. That is super abnormal and rare in America. It's not something that happens every day. Murders happen every day, but murders to people like that while having political discourse is absolutely right.
Well, I mean, some people don't do that. This is all fault. He got shot. They gave him a warning to put bulletproof stuff, and he ignored it. He made a decision to take the risk.
Okay, so no, that's fucking retarded. That's like saying that. Okay, should I make, if I had daughters, should I have them wear fucking chastity belts or whatever the fuck, and so that they can't get raped because penises can't penetrate steel?
Charlie Kirk.
I mean, you know,
he was a father.
Watch Abraham justify it.
He was a husband. No, he was a father. He was a husband, right? So what happened to him? And I condemn all political violence, right? There's no place for political violence, especially as a foundational Black American. So many of our leaders have been killed due to political violence, from Medgar Evers to Dr. King, Malcolm X. I can keep
Abraham,
going.
did you say last time that you understand why people were angry with them?
Malcolm X, but what I'm saying is I can separate and I can say what happened to him was diabolically immoral and wrong. He should be here with his children right now. If God gave me the power, I would give his wife Erica back to him. But that doesn't mean that I will not continue. Hold on. That doesn't mean
that if God gave me the ability, I would give him back to Erica. However, that doesn't mean that I would not stop criticizing his racist, anti-black rhetoric.
That's why Charlie got shot right there. Because
It's
the
not,
fucking lies.
no, it's not why he got shot.
No, because
It's
of
not
the
why he got
lies.
shot. Shut the fuck up, Ken. That's not why he got shot. Literally, this guy, from what we can only go by the limited information that we had. The district attorney there said that people are asking him, including his own family and friends, for more information. He's refusing to give it because apparently, he wants this person to have a fair trial. Abby may know a lot more about that. I don't know all the details of why that would be the case, but what limited information we have, he said he was hateful. He didn't really describe, I haven't heard any details about what he thought was hateful. We know that, okay, he's involved with a person that's like, quote unquote, transitioning, that looks like a dude. I don't know.
If he really
There's a lot of avenues we can go.
He would have taken the protections that
Called
were
him a
needed.
fascist.
No, what do you mean he would have taken the protections that are needed? No, Nicholas, that is so fucked up and stupid. Like you're somebody I like on this app, but for you to say this stupid shit, I mean, first of all, the amount of money.
It's true, Pepe.
Okay, but the amount of money.
Oh,
Okay,
delicious.
first of all, the amount of money that it takes to get this level of protection, and of course, he's not a politician. He doesn't have like a counter sniper team and with scouts that are looking on rooftops, and where obviously he would have been shot before he would have been able to do it. Or at least hopefully, it's just like a lot different scenario. I do think that this is an event that unfortunately, because it happened, I think a lot of these influencers are going to have to, they're going to have to make the necessary adjustments. And you have to look at it like this. I mean, like, presidents have been shot, and you have the first class professionals that just train. Their job is to preserve the life of the president and protect the president and his family. And they fucked up, but when things go wrong, they end up changing their strategy to basically include what went wrong and make sure that doesn't happen. With Charlie Kirk, I mean, that was a whole new level. I've never seen a political influencer shot like that. I can't think of one. You guys obviously can't name one. And so, I mean, this is a whole, especially like with the phenomenon of like copycat shooters and so forth. I think, Ben Shapiro said he wanted to go back to debating college kids, which that's kind of where I remember him getting his start. He said he's gonna do that. I'm sure he's probably gonna have like protections now that Charlie Kirk, because of what happened to Charlie Kirk, you're gonna have really even Talking Point USA. I'm sure they're gonna do it. But at the end of the day, what I find really weird is like,
was a pawn.
we have it like these debates where we even have to somehow assign guilt to the person getting shot. Like if Sam, and I've always bring up these two names. Like Sam Cedar, I think is an annoying, whiny faggot. He might have kids and a wife. I don't know. He gives me the vibes like he would. Ezra Klein, he's smart, kind of smug. I don't really like him that much, but I don't think he's a bad guy. But like, if I would have seen these guys get shot and their family was there and it was talking to a bunch of liberal students, I would feel really sad, honestly. And I don't think that I would say like, well, that piece of shit Ezra Klein, he should have. If he really cared about his life, he would have had bulletproof glass, he would have done all this other stuff. I would have never done that. I would say no. Like, the fact that anybody would justify or downplay violence towards Ezra Klein getting shot in the neck is like a really horrible fucking person. You should, there's no reason to shoot somebody somebody like him in the fucking neck. Even though I really disagree with him, I don't think he's a bad fucking person. Like that is just wrong on every level.
I just want to point out that Pepe would cry for 2 Jews if they got killed. It's the same. You guys all remember.
I guess I verbalize you, and so a lot of you.
Yeah, they're not Muslims. I got you.
There's no reason for him getting shot because it was all planned. Like there was no reason for him getting shot. Exactly.
Oh God, here we go. This fucking dumb shit.
It's the truth. It's the truth. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't no
Pass
type
all
of
these
hero.
dumb faggots like this.
Nobody. You said he's not a hero, Ash. But you said he's not a hero. But I guess what I would ask you is, why did it doesn't matter whether or not you think he's a hero. I can understand the argument. He didn't put on his duty belt. He wasn't a cop. He wasn't. He didn't put on his uniform to fight for a country. In other words, he's not somebody who was deliberately and heroically put himself out there to put himself in a position where he's going to be fighting for his people or his country, where he would end up getting killed. And now, but with that being said, I don't look at him as a hero personally. I do look at him as a very, first of all, this guy was a nobody. At 18 years old, having that level of initiative, where he had this spark in him, this initiative, where he ended up forming this the Turning Point USA. He was getting these donors. He was passionately traveling throughout the country. He made a fucking name for himself. He became a very relevant person